Hello everybody, this is Oksana Rudko and my brand of knitted bags, La Accessory. In these two lessons, I will show you how to make such bags, Madeira Mini, with magnetic button and leather handle, and Madeira Maxi. That is a shopper which is really huge, and it also has leather handles, magnetic button. This pair of lessons you can buy together as a kit or separately depending which bag you prefer. These video lessons with these bags will be a separate lesson so that you can buy either mini or maxi, or you can buy both of them at once. So now I will tell you everything about the size of each bag, tell you how many materials you need for it, and then I have separate information for all the bags. So according to the size, Madeira Mini has width of 20 to 23 centimeters, its height is 18 centimeters and depth is 10 to 11 centimeters. The width is here with the widest points on the sides, because then it becomes narrower towards the top. The bottom here and here is made onto the plastic canvas. I will show you how to work with a plastic canvas as well, how to prepare the bottom and how to make the sides of the bag. So the Maxi Madeira, its size is, the widest part here in the middle of the bag approximately is 46 to 47 centimeters. The height is 31 centimeter and the depth is 15 to 16 centimeters. The bottom is also made based on the plastic canvas. These bags are soft, they do not have to keep the shape, they can get the shape of anything you put inside, but the plastic canvas in the bottom will help them to keep the shape, although the bag on its own doesn't keep the shape. So, for those of you who is going to make both handbags, you will need 7 skeins of boucle hobby trend. It has 75 meters in one skein. I used exactly 7 skeins, so I recommend you to take a little more, 8 for example, so that you are not worried that you will run out of it, because your gauge might be a little bit different from mine. So if, for example, you run out of the yarn and you have to use 2 more meters, that would be a pity. We will also use plastic canvas. We will cut it into pieces. The piece for the big will be 10 to 32 centimeters and bottom for a smaller bag will be 4.5 to 11 centimeters. Likewise, here we will have a flap 4 to 11 centimeters and 3 small pieces 2 by 2 centimeters will be needed for magnetic buttons. We'll have 2 magnetic buttons, one of them on the mini, the other on the maxi bag. And then crocheting hooks. For the plastic canvas, we will need plastic canvas with openings 4 to 5 millimeters. If it's smaller, it will be difficult for you to work. So I'm going to use crocheting hook 4 millimeters, or maybe you can even use 3.5 centimeters crocheting hook. I'll show you everything as we work. You will need big scissors to cut the plastic canvas and such a nail file so that you can smoothen the edges of this plastic canvas so that it will not be sharp. Then you'll need small scissors and of course you need some knitting markers. I'll use knitting markers for work with boucle because it's not an easy yarn. We can't see the loops actually, but we can use knitting markers to help us work with this material. and it will be much more handy for you to see the pattern. I will also use darning needles, or you can use either plastic or metal ones. As always, plastic ones will do. We need something with a big opening for sewing the flap to the bag, for example, so that we will use it as well. For working the base, we will need 5mm crocheting hook. Maybe you'll need 5.5 if you have a different gauge than mine, maybe even 6, depends on your gauge. So you need to make a sample and give it a try which one will be easier for you, because boucle is such a special yarn. You have to pull it well, and we need a measuring tape. Yeah, by the way, here I have this metal darning needle I was looking for. It's a blunt needle, it's not sharp here, and it has a big eye. So we will also need, of course, some thread and needle in matching color when you are sewing the lining. Some fabric for lining will be needed. I don't have the color I need now, so I usually use linen, viscose, satin, something like this. Anything you have at hand, anything that's usually used for the lining. We need some sewing pins, also very important when you sew in the lining. Now I'll show you how the bags look inside, lining and a magnetic button, and we'll start making our bag. So let's have a look at the bags inside. Here I inserted a magnetic button and I have sewn in the lining. Here I have a linen and viscose. I'll show you everything step by step, how to take your measurements, how to sew a lining and sew it into the bag. It looks like such inside. And for the maxi bag, also show you inside, magnetic button, lining. Pay attention that magnetic button here is sewn onto the plastic canvas, and then this plastic canvas 2 by 2 centimeters, they are trimmed and they are sewn to the bag. So I do this because when you use the magnetic button, it will not be like inside the soft piece, yet will not spoil the material here. I will also show you step by step how to measure. So in this bigger lining, I'm using a seamless seam here on top of this bag. Everything I'll show you by and by. Of course, I will show you how to insert these leather handles. Here, everything is going to be step by step. In the first lesson, we are going to make the maxi bag. That is the bigger one, and in the second I'll show you how to make a smaller one. So for Madeira big size, you will need 5.5 skeins of yarn. I also recommend you to take a little bit more just in case you ran out of, so better take a little bit more, maybe half a skein will be not enough. You will need 2 leather handles like this. They have screws here. I have 65 centimeters handles. That will do, but you can of course use bigger ones. It's up to you whether you like bigger handles. We will need a piece of plastic canvas like this. We'll cut it 10 to 32 centimeters, and then we will shape the bottom, and after this make the sides of the bag. We will need 1 magnetic button and some pieces of plastic canvas 2 by 2 centimeters on which we will attach these magnetic buttons and then sew them to the bag. We will need some fabric for lining. Here I have linen viscose mix. I haven't bought it for the light bag yet, but I'll show you at the end of this lesson, of course, so I can't show it to you now. but of course I'll show you at the end of the work. Here you can see how it's going to look. It's natural fabric, really nice to the touch. So for this color, I don't know whether I'll use viscose or linen or maybe something else. This color is 5001. According to the size, big size bag is 46 to 47 centimeters here in the widest part, and the height is 30-31 centimeters, and the bottom here is 15 to 16 centimeters, although I have used 10 centimeters of plastic canvas, but in reality it's a little bit wider, like this. As I have said, the handles are 65 centimeters. So I will start the work from the plastic canvas, and we will start the big size Madeira Maxi. First thing that we need to do is to prepare the bottom for this bag. So I have 32 centimeters of this plastic canvas, 32. The length will do. Now let's measure the width. 10 centimeters in. I need 10 centimeters. Will be careful here with your measure. Not here, you see, not with these spikes, we'll cut them, but with the first vertical line here. Start measuring with a new opening. So I will mark 10 centimeters here. Cut it carefully, pay attention. Do not cut it where it's exactly 10 centimeters, cut it a little bit to the left, in the middle of this square. So from this to this stripe it is 10 centimeters, because we cut it in the middle of the square, always. If length of your canvas is bigger than mine, then you have to measure 32 centimeters and also cut it, but I already have 32, so this side is straight, and here I have to even it a little bit by cutting these teeth here, so that it's also nice and even. Like this. So that's our base for the bottom. Almost ready. Now I'll show you how to smooth it with a nail file to make them rounded. So before we start trimming it, I slightly smooth it with a nail file like this, just to make them not so sharp. I don't like when it's sharp. And slightly smooth it with a nail file so that it's not sharp, yeah, like this. If it is okay, then we can go on. If you want, you can also smooth this side, so everything that is sharp, everything that you do not like to the touch, you can slightly smooth. Okay, the plastic canvas is ready, and we can start. Before I start working with boucle, I will show you now on ordinary cord, just as an example, how we work with a plastic canvas, because it is difficult to show you with boucle, you will not be able to see it. We are going to make trimming all along the contour and in the middle. The contour we'll make first and then we'll make it in the middle. Actually, you can start both ways, it doesn't matter where you start, in the center or on the edge. I prefer to start on the edge. Along the edge, we'll make the following way. Insert the hook into the opening, any opening, of course, here it doesn't matter where you start. Pull the loop like this, hold the free end, and make a stitch. Then insert the hook into the next opening and make a single crochet. When I make a trimming with boucle, I will skip several openings. For example, insert it in every other opening and make a stitch, because boucle allows it. And so like this, we're going to work all around the edge with single crochets. And then here we will be making increases and making sides and so on. So like this we work till the end of the round. Now in the middle we are going to make it here. In the middle we are going to make it the following way. Insert the hook, make a loop and insert it into the next. Pull the loop, pay attention that I have skipped one opening again. Pull the next loop and at once through the loop on the hook. It is a slip stitch. Then skip one, insert the hook in the next and a slip stitch and so on. And like this with slip stitches we'll be making the stitches in the middle of the plastic canvas. And when we make a turn on the corner, we just make a stitch into the next stitch closest to this one on this side. So imagine this is a corner, so also a slip stitch, turn our work and go on working likewise. So here we skip, and when we go here and there, we make every row. It's important so that in the middle we work in every row. Now let's start working with boucle, hobby trend boucle. So let's start in the corner. In the corner I will make 3 single crochets to make an increase. So insert the hook, pull the working thread, make a slightly longer loop and make a stitch. These loops that you have here on the hook you make smaller, and then that one you pull now through the canvas is bigger. This one is bigger. You see, the loop that you have just pulled is 2 times bigger than the one that you have made on the hook. The one on the hook you make tighter, and this one you make vice versa bigger. Insert the hook in the same opening, that's already the third in this opening, and pull the thread and make a single crochet. This free end you can work into the row as you go at the same time. So now we skip one, insert the hook in the next, pull our working thread, make the loop longer and make a single crochet. This loop is shorter on the hook. Then skip one, insert the hook, pull a longer loop and make a single crochet. Skip one. You see that this free end goes inside the stitches, so we hide it at the same time. And so like this, we go along the perimeter. When we have reached the corner, I'll show you how we do the corner, and then you can go on working on your own, according to the same principle. And then I'll show you how we work in the middle. Like this. If you happen to tangle the hook and you cannot pull the loop, this may happen, it's okay. It's better to undo 1 or 2 stitches, come back, yeah, and then repeat it, make it again. So we go on working till the corner, and then I'll show you how we make it on the corner. So I have almost reached the corner. I have to make 1 more stitch here. And then the corner I also make, although it is next to this one, I don't skip the corner. I make 3 single crochets into 1. On the corner we always make increases. If you have a bigger crocheting hook, change it to a smaller one. For example, if you were using 4, better use 3.5, then it will be easier for you to work, especially when you're making the corners. It's easier to work it with a smaller crocheting hook. Then skip 1 and here. Go on working till the end of this rectangle. So here 3 stitches in the corner. Even if you have finished here, don't skip it and make 3 stitches in the corner, and we'll meet when you come to the beginning. So have almost made trimming along the perimeter. So now, well, let's finish it together. We'll make 1 more here. And now we need to start working in the middle here. So here's the last stitch we have made, and we need to make a transfer here. So what can we do? We can make this loop longer and just insert it here where we need it. And make, as I have shown you, a slip stitch, like this. So now we can go on working here where we need. Now, according to the number of stitches, it doesn't matter how many stitches you've made, and in boucle it doesn't matter usually how many stitches you make. I'll just show you the approximate number and how to check whether you have done it all right. So now we are moving the following way. We are working this row, then we will come back into the reverse row and skip, make this loop bigger, skip 1, insert it into the next. Into every other opening we'll be making slip stitches. Don't forget to make this loop longer so that it's enough to skip 1 stitch and insert it into the next. I show you a slow process. Yeah, you can work faster, of course. Skip 1, insert in the next, pull the loop, and at once pull it through this loop on the hook. That is an ordinary slip stitch. When you pull this loop long enough, it will be able to cover two stitches. And so like this, go on working till the end of this row. So here, for example, I have such a kind of gap, yeah? So I see it. I don't like it. That's why when I will be working backwards, I will make one more row. It depends on the plastic canvas, it depends in which direction you have started making this row. So here it's everything about the visual effect. If you don't like something, make several more stitches to cover the gap which you don't like. So I have finished this row. I pierce the last opening here where I already have made the trimming, into the same one. Ready? And if I wanted to go into the next row, I would just make a stitch into this one and turn my work and go backwards. But I've decided I want to make one more row here because don't know why, but it looks like a gap, like a bold gap, so I don't like it. I will cover this row as well. You can see here I have one more row with the openings. These are the openings where I was making the trimming. So I just want to add an extra row. It's optional. If you like, you can do this as well. Here I will skip more loops, maybe 2, 3. So here I have just to make an additional row. Maybe I'll skip 2, yeah, insert it into the third. Just to add a little bit more of puffiness here. You see now it looks much better, covers completely. If you like, you can do this. If you don't want to, you can go to the next row and I will show you how to go on. When I've reached here, I'll show you how we continue. Like this. So I have made this additional row, made here the stitches, I have finished here, and now I need to go to the next row here. Now I will insert it into the same here, make this loop a little longer and insert it into the opening where I made the trimming. So here it doesn't matter how you make a transition from one row to the other. In boucle it's not important, it will not be visible anyway. Maybe this place will be a little bit thicker, but it's not a big deal. So we start the next row. Now here we go in the reverse direction. We find the next row, this one. You have to find it, it's here, it's slightly covered with boucle. So we make stitches, slip stitches in every other opening here. And so one by one. It's a little bit difficult, but when you get used to it, it will not be so anymore. It's really easy and the work goes quickly. So go on working till the end of this row. So I'll show you this row and then you can work on your own. You just make zigzags back and forth, row after row. And after we have made the bottom, we will start making the sides of the bag. So like this. Now I have reached the corner almost here. Make the last stitch. Insert the hook not into the open one, but in the one where we have already made the trimming, so that we do not get a gap there. find the next row here, insert the hook into the next opening where we had this trimming along the edge. Again, insert the hook, pull the thread, pull it through the loop on the hook, then go making slip stitches like this. And then we go on working in the reverse direction, the next row, this one. Slightly turn the boucle from the row. Yeah, you see they tend to cover it. But we need to make a row into every row of the openings here. So skip one and insert it into every other opening, and so go on working till the end of the row. And again the next one, and so on and so on. So like this we make full trimming, full coverage for the plastic canvas, and we will finish here or here so that the bottom will be trimmed and covered with boucle. We will also make one additional row here where we were making the trimming, and then without cutting the thread we will start making the sides. So now move till the end of the plastic canvas and do not cut the thread, and I'll show you how to make the sides for the bag, how to find the number of stitches we need, and so on, everything by and by. So let's meet when you have done the bottom. Now I have finally made the bottom. That's how it looks on the right side, as you see, and this is the wrong side. If it wasn't for the white yarn, you would be able to see the plastic canvas. So here I have finished it. Now I need to pull this loop into the corner, so insert the hook somewhere here closer to the corner where you can insert it. And make a joining slip stitch, and so like this you will get a loop on the corner. Now we need knitting markers. As we do not have the number of stitches here along the edge, and it is really difficult to count them with boucle yarn, so we can't see them, how are we going to work? First of all, if you can, fill the openings like this. This is the number of our stitches. So in each opening of the plastic canvas we make 2 stitches. If somewhere you insert it not exactly into the plastic canvas, it's also okay. Just approximately 2 stitches in one opening. If you make 1 and then make 3 instead of 2 and 2, it's also not a problem. But so that we have some calculations, we will mark each 10 stitches with a marker. So I'll show you how. I change the hook for 5 millimeters. And make find the first opening next to the corner. Just where you can insert the hook here. So this was our first stitch, and we count. In the same opening, make the second. 2 stitches in each opening. Like this. 2. The next one, here, it will be single crochets. I show you slowly for those of you who just start knitting. So find the opening, insert the hook, pull the working thread. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. You make a yarn over. Do not tear it. If you see that it's difficult, better undo it and do it again. Now you have 2 loops, and now work 2 together. That is a single crochet. In the same opening, make 1 more stitch. You see I have entangled it, so I undo it and better make it again. Then you will get used to it, it will be easier. And 2 together. It's difficult to work with boucle yarn at the beginning, but when you get used to it, it's not so difficult. After you have made 1 big bag, believe me, it's okay, it's not a problem anymore, so don't be afraid of this yarn. So I have already made 4, 5, so go and work in 2 stitches into 1 opening, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So each marker will show us 10 stitches. So insert the marker in every 10th stitch. After we have made it along the perimeter, we will know the amount of stitches that we have made approximately, that is, and that will do. On the sides we will have a lot of increases and decreases, so the mistake will not mean anything, so don't worry if 1 or 2 stitches plus or minus, it will be okay in this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do not tighten the stitches, pull them nicely, pull long stitches, 5, 6. Don't forget that we make 2 stitches into every opening of the plastic canvas, 8, 9, 10, insert a marker in the 10th stitch. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Likewise, go on working on your own till the next corner, and then here on the corner I will show you how to make it, because you might have 10 on the corner, might have it a little bit earlier or further. So work till the end of this row. Now I have nearly finished this row. I have inserted this marker into the 10th stitch and go on counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and insert the marker here. So on the corner it's difficult to find the opening. Here you can insert it where you can, and then go on working along this edge and the next one, and put markers in every 10th stitch. Likewise, just like we did. Here you can mark it here, then here. So you continue counting, no matter, don't pay attention at the corner. So now you need to make 2 single crochets into each opening of the plastic canvas. If you skip it, don't worry, it's not a mistake. And at the end we need to see the approximate number of the stitches, to see the number of the markers and see number of the stitches. So go on working on your own. We'll meet here. I will show you how we make last 10 and then we'll continue. So last 10 stitches here, I have inserted, looks like I have 10 stitches left because this distance is the same as the distance between 2 markers. So here I will also make 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And actually attach this marker here as the 10th one. I'm not going to join it in the round, we are going to work in the spiral, so it is not possible to do it here. So now we need to count our markers and count our stitches according to the markers. So start here. I'll show you so that you can see it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 markers, which means I have 150 stitches. Write it down that you have 150 stitches so that you know it. You might have 130, 140, 120, it depends on your canvas, so don't worry. If you have 120 or any other number, in the next row you will have to make increases just to make the same number of stitches as I have, so that it will be easier for you to work together with me. So go on working, marking every 10th stitch with a marker. So let's start. Each row we are working like this with the markers. So here I do not join the row, I just go on working in spiral. Just make a single crochet. That will be the first. Here we'll make 10 stitches till these markers, including this marker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Insert the marker in the 10th stitch. As you see here, I do not see the stitches in boucle, but I know that I have to make 10 stitches. So it doesn't matter where you insert the hook here, in which stitches actually. What is important is the number. Then make next 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here 10. And so like this, go on working, making 10 stitches between each markers. Then, without any lifting chains, without any joining the rounds, just go on working a spiral. When you have reached this, you just go on working the next round. We make 10 centimeters in height without any increases. When you have made 10 centimeters, we'll meet again. And we'll be making increases into each marker. So as many markers, as many increases. Now work 10 centimeters. Without any increases. So I have already made, it's already difficult to show it to you on the camera because bag is so big. It's the wrong side, the bottom and 10 centimeters of our side. It has waves, it is absolutely okay. So I've made it 10 centimeters along all the perimeter, and I have finished it on the corner where we started. So I didn't mark it. You can add some special marker to know the beginning and the end, but I see that if I haven't made the row, then here the side, one side will be shorter, the other will be longer, so you will be able to see where you have started because this one will be shorter, the one you haven't worked yet. And so now I need to make a transition to the next row, and as I have said, make 10 centimeters, and then I will show you what we do next. So I take it you have made 10 centimeters like I did. Measure it from the edge of this plastic bottom. And we will make increases here where we have a marker. We'll make 2 into 1. This will be an increase. Just remember or write it down here where you have started. So here it's important to mark the beginning. I just remember that it starts with the yellow marker at the beginning of the row. If you see, you can remember where you have started, you can remember. But just to make sure, put some marker, some other marker that you will, or remember the color of the marker that you will remember where you have started. So the increases. Okay, I start with this marker and I will at once make an increase. And then make 10 single crochets as usually. I make 9, and here where the marker is, into the 10th stitch, I will make 10 and 11. Also, please pay attention that here where I have made an increase, I have to put it into the second. Yeah, where you have made an increase, you insert the marker into the second stitch of the increase, this one, so that you know where you have made an increase. It's just such a tiny thing, but it makes your life easier when you insert the marker into the increase. 1, 2, 3. Don't forget that this loop you make longer and the one on the hook you leave shorter. I make it 1.5 to 2 centimeters. So 4, then 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9. We have reached the marker. Take off the marker. Even if you cannot find the loop, just make it somewhere. The important thing is to make 10 stitches between the marker and an increase on the marker, 11. Into the marker, make number 10, and in the same opening make 11. You can also write it down somewhere that you have inserted the markers into the 11th stitch everywhere. So you know that here you had made increases. And it will be not 150 but 165 stitches. I will work together with you a little bit and then you can continue on your own. So like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Take off the marker. In the next stitch make 2 single crochets into 1, that is 10, and here 11. Okay, this increase ready, and I'll work together with you till the next marker and then you can go on your own. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and insert the marker. 1, 2, 'And so like this we go on working till the marker that marks the beginning of work. I just remembered it's this one, yellow, and you remember what you have marked it. And then I'll tell you how we go on working. So I just wanted to show you one thing, that when I run out of the yarn and I take the next skein and just make a knot. With boucle yarn it's really easy. You can just do it like this, and then when you work you will just hide it inside the stitches. They are not visible at all, so it's really easy. Just make a knot. Just hide them inside the stitches and cut the excess. So I have the last row to make. Till the yellow marker, and here I have already made 2 increases. So here I will make 9 stitches because the 11th is here. I'll make 10 stitches because the 11th one is already here. I have made an increase when I started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this number 11 is already here. So now each marker means that we have to make 11 stitches between them. Marker is inserted in every 11th stitch. So let's have a look how many centimeters it makes. So 1 row is 1 centimeter. And like this, go on working till the point when you have 15 centimeters. So work 5 centimeters more with 11 stitches between the markers. And we will make 15 increases more. On each marker, again, make an increase. After this, after you have made 15 centimeters. So go on working 5 centimeters without any increases, and then we'll meet and I'll show you how to make increases again. It will be again 15 increases. So we'll get 180 stitches in total. This number is approximate. It can be a little bit 1-2 stitches more or less. It's not a big problem. So go on working 5 more centimeters with 11 stitches between each markers. So now we had 10 centimeters. When you have 15 centimeters in total, we'll meet again. I'll show you how we are going to work next. Don't forget that each marker means 11th stitch. We make 11 stitches between the markers. So go on working and see you when you have made 15 centimeters. So I have made it 15 centimeters. I have almost reached the yellow marker. That is the beginning of work. So I take it you have made 15 centimeters as well, almost. Yeah, almost 15. It can also differ a little bit. And so I'll finish this row. Now we will have approximately 165. We will make 15 increases more so that we will get 180 stitches. Remember that you have the marker that shows the beginning of the work. Now finish at this marker and we'll start making increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see that I have one more space for one more stitch, but I have already made 10. So take off the marker, skip this space and make 2 stitches here where the marker was. That is, will be 11 and 12. That's it. Now we return the marker into the 12th stitch. We will also be removing all the markers in the 12th stitch. In this row, we'll be making increases on the markers. On each marker, make 2 single crochets instead of 1. And now we will insert these markers into each 12th stitch. I'll make this piece and then you can go on working on your own. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, take the marker off, 11 and 12. Insert the marker back into the 12th stitch. And so like this, go on working in the round, making increases on each marker. After we have made increases, we will make 5 centimeters again, and when you have made 20 centimeters, we will meet again. And at 20 centimeters, we will meet again. I'll show you what we do next. We'll make some more increases. This will be the last increases already, and then we'll make decreases. So now go on working, making increases on each marker, and then go on working without increases 5 more centimeters till you have 20 centimeters. Insert markers into every 12th stitch. So I have already made this row and all the other rows till 20 centimeters. I see that maybe at 19.5 centimeters, maybe 20. It's up to you, depends on your yarn, because boucle is such an uneven yarn. So in this there is no mistake, so don't worry if you get a little bit less than 20 centimeters. I have almost made it till the marker, which shows me the beginning of the row. Now we'll have to make one row of increases in each marker, starting with this one. Now we have 180 stitches approximately. We'll make 15 more increases and we will get 195 stitches approximately. Remember that here you can have plus, minus 1, 2, up to 10 stitches. It's not crucial if you get a little bit less or a little bit more. For boucle, it is not important. So let's get started. Go on working till the marker. And now I see that I have a lot of space, so perhaps 11 I will make here so that I cover this space. And then I make increase here where the marker was, 1, 2, that will be 12 and 13 stitch. So again, which I have made here like a decrease to cover this space. I have just inserted 1 stitch 2 times, and instead of 11 I skipped it. So now I will make 2 so that there is no hole here, and now make 12 and 13. So now I'll show you one more piece. Go on working till the next marker. I'll undo it because I want to show you something. Here I have a big hole. You see, it happens sometimes in boucle. So I can now, number 8, made not here, but with 2 half loops. Yeah, if one will make a hole, you can insert it into 2 half loops instead of 1, so that you do not get a hole. I do this to avoid these openings. So this was 8, 9, 10, the same. Again, you see a hole, so insert it a little bit deeper under 2 half loops instead of 1, and 11. Here, where the marker is, I make an increase 12 and 13 stitch. So like this, we move one more round, make increases on each marker. That will add 15 stitches and in total 195 to our work. After this, you work till 25 centimeters, so you make 5 centimeters more without any increases. And then I'll show you what we do next. The total height of the side is going to be 31 centimeter. 30, 31, plus minus 32, maybe 29. It's up to you, up to your gauge, up to your yarn. Visually, we will see whether we need to add a row or to make one row less. So go on working till 25 centimeters, and then I'll tell you what we do next. And then we will be making decreases and so on and so on. And we will be shaping the side, because you see it's not rounded. We'll have to give it shape. So now it looks flat, but don't worry, we will then shape it and give it the shape that we want to achieve. So I have made the sides of the bag 25 centimeters, starting from the plastic canvas. You see here it may be 26, almost 25 and a half. It is okay. So 1 centimeter plus or minus is not a big deal. And now we were making 13 stitches, 12 and 13 was our increase. Now in total our bag will have 31 centimeter in height, 31 to 32. So now we will move upwards about 4 centimeters, 4 to 5 centimeters. We will make decreases. So first of all, you can additionally insert one more marker to the place where you have started making decreases, so that you know that you've started making decreases here, so that you can measure it with measuring tape. This is important. So for example, I insert a double violet marker to the yellow, it will mean that I've started decreases here. So now we'll make 4 to 5 centimeters. And it is especially not noticeable, so you will not be able to notice decreases, but we need to make them, and we will use less material with them. So now I will show you step by step how we make decreases, and then you will be able to work 4 to 5 centimeters on your own with decreases. So I'll start decreases starting from this marker, and I'll now show you all the process step by step. So I will finish this row first, haven't finished it yet. And now attentively, 12 and 13, take off the marker and make 12th and 13th stitches together. That will be a decrease. Insert it into the 12th stitch, but do not finish. Insert it into the 13th stitch, and now make 1 single crochet out of 2. So now we again have 12 stitches between the markers. Now we'll be making again in next row, we will always have 12 stitches between the increases, or between the markers, I mean. Now I'll leave this marker because I need it to see where I started decreases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 and 13 we work together as one, making decrease. 12, but do not finish it, and 13 work together, 12th and 13th stitch. So now we have 12 stitches till this marker. You can write it down. If you are afraid that you'll forget, better write it down. So, like this, work a decrease at each next marker till the end of this round, and when you have made a round, you will again come to this violet marker and we will be working 11 and 12 together. This will be a new row of decreases, and so in each row we will make a decrease in each next row, and we'll meet when you have made all the decreases. So I decided to show you a little bit more at the beginning of the second row so that you see it. So I have now almost finished the first row of decreases. This is where I started and this is where I am now. I've made a decrease here. So here I have 12 and 13s together. I have to make 12 here. So I'll make 10 and then 11 and 12 I will already make as a decrease. So let's make it together. (11) and 12 work together as a decrease. 11 and 12, 2 as 1, a decrease, and insert the marker. So that now we start the second row of decreases. In this row we will work together stitch 11 and 12. So that you will get 11 stitches in each row, starting from this marker. And here we will finish our decreases. Don't forget that you finish decreases 10 stitches before the end. So, go on working together at each marker, stitch number 11 and 12 together. In the next row, again, and so on, 4 to 5 centimeters, making decreases. So that here the centimeters in height will depend on your gauge. It will be approximately 29 to 30 centimeters plus minus 1 or 1.5 centimeter. We will just add to top the bag. So I'll make one more piece together, and 11, 12 work together. 11 and 12, so that we have 11 stitches in this row, like this. When you have made 4 to 5 centimeters, we'll meet. So go on working decreases in each row at each marker. And I'll tell you what we do next, how we finish the sides of the bag. Don't forget that number of stitches here is approximate. It may vary, it is okay if it varies with this kind of yarn, boucle yarn. It's really difficult to count it. So here it may be different, but the markers will help you a lot to make it more or less the same. So go on working decreases in each row at each marker, and we will meet again. And we'll start the such elements as magnetic button, decor, and so on, handles and lining. So I have added 3 rows with decreases here. If you can see, I'm not sure if you can see rows with decreases. I was making decreases on each marker from 195 stitches to 180, then from 180 to 165 and to 150. So now I have 15 markers. You might have made 4 rows or more or less. Now, the size of the bag in this case is 30 centimeters. Yeah, 30 centimeters. 29.5 to be precise. So now we need to make the folds. So we do not go on working. Make this loop a little bit bigger so that you do not lose it at the end. I have stopped here. You can stop anywhere actually, because we are going to continue working in spiral. Just make the enough number of decreases and stop. Now I'll show you how I have made these folds on the red bag. So that's how it's going to look as a finished look, with folds, with handles, with magnetic button. So due to the folds we will achieve such a shape. Now it depends how you fold it. The finished look will vary, and it will be just up to you. I'll show you how I do this, and then you can fold it as you like. Yeah, I'll tell you how many centimeters I fold here, and you can fold it as you like, as you prefer, and you then can copy according to your measurements or according to your liking. Will make the same. If you will not be able to make it at the first go, also don't worry, it's okay. I have also tried it several times till I found the way that I like it. Yeah, so I'll show you how to fix them, and then when you understood the essential principles, you can do it on your own. We're going to make folds like this. This is our bottom. We need to find the middle. The middle will be 16 centimeters. As we have 32 divided by 2, it's 16 centimeters. Here is the middle. So I follow this line to find the middle. Here is going to be the middle. And according to this middle, by the way, I have a marker here. Yeah, so I can remember that here I have a red marker. And so the first fold, big fold, will be here in the center. We have a marker, so we will now fold it like this so that the marker remains in the center. Inside 1, 2. I make big folds. If you like, you can make them smaller. I prefer to make them like really big. Now I'll show you. You can correct it in the process. So the main principle is I have 9 to 10 centimeters. Inside it will be smaller. Here I have 9 to 10 centimeters fold. Up to 10 centimeters. On this side it should be the same. Yeah, like this. You can use a smaller crocheting hook, or you can use, for example, some chopsticks or pencils, whatever you have at hand, you have now to fix it in place. Just if you were making a Japanese coiffure like this, just to fix it, like the huge pins. Yeah, so I have a lot of crocheting hooks, I'll use them. And on this side, I'll show you how to hide the free ends as well a little bit later. On this side as well, we need to make a fold. So you find first the middle, (32). Here I have a pink marker in the center, so that's exactly what I need. When I was making the red bag, I didn't have the markers in the right places. Now I somehow happen to have them. So if you do not have markers now exactly at the center, you can insert one more marker just to remember which are which, and so that you know where the center is. And here likewise make the folds. Also fold it 10 centimeters on each side and fix it with something. Like this. One, two. I insert it with a blunt edge, by the way. Don't do it with a hook, or you can get it entangled. So now we have the folds, and we have to fold the sides as well. Here we need to find the middle as well. So have a look how much of the base you have. And I will make it so that here I have to insert the handles. So bearing in mind the handles, leave about 3 centimeters for the handles. It seems to me that this one is too small, so I see that 10 centimeters was too much, so I have to adjust so that I have more space on the sides. I will make it smaller here. I'll measure now. How much is it? This one looks nice, but the side don't have enough base to fold them, so 7 to 8 centimeters will be better. So use measuring tape, check it here as well. Let's make it smaller. So I have to make them smaller. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you have made them good at once, but I have to make it smaller. Okay, I will give it a try with 7 to 8 centimeters. What are we going to get here? Let's have a look. Okay, let's give it a try. If anything, we can change it again. In this case, I will make about 6 centimeters, approximately 6. And then here it will also be, just make sure that this distance is enough for the handles. Here I have approximately 4 centimeters, so here I will also make approximately 4 centimeters. Okay, ready? And likewise here. So I also need to find the center and fold it. And also fix it. Now I do not measure it. I just want to see it, how it's going to look in general. Then I will of course measure it and check it. And I saw that visually it is a little bit different. Why? Because here, for example, let's check. Here I have made it, this first fold, 21 centimeter. And here I have made it much bigger. So that's where the mistake is. That's where I've made a mistake. I made it almost 30. So that you see how the shape depends. The shape of the bag depends on the folds. So I have to do it again. I need to make it approximately 20 centimeters. Like this. And so the folds here, let's have a look. The folds here will be about 7 centimeters. Let's check. Eight, yeah, 8, okay, let it be 8. Let's give it a try again. So I need to make it 20 here and 8 on both sides. 20 here and then inside 8. Like this, yeah, that is going to be better. So here, of course, it's up to you. I have a little experience so that I can see which is going to look better, which, and the sides we will also change because we have changed this. We will make the sides wider. Folds on the sides, I mean, we'll make them wider. Okay, that's it. On this side as well, make the fold 20 centimeters on the right side and then 8 centimeters inside. We need to make it 20 and then fold which is inside approximately. So let's have a look. No, not like this. No, this is going to be better. No, again, you see, here you need to play around a lot to get the right size. Yeah, now that's better. And also don't forget that there is a center and it has to be centered. Yeah, so it has to be centered, not shifted to one side. Okay, now to the sides. Let's measure the sides here. It makes 18 and yeah, and the folds here will be maybe not 8 but something close to it. 7 maybe. So now here I need to get about 18 centimeters, approximately, of course. And the fold will be so that we have space for the handles as well. The fold can be a little bit different because this is a different bag, different yarn. So here the size cannot be absolutely the same. You see, even I have made it with the same hands, with the same gouache, but as the material is different, it might be a little different from the previous red band that I have made. So I'll show you how we will go along this edge, how we fix these folds in place, leave enough space for the handles to sew them, and likewise here on this side. Here we will start sewing it, I think so. So just let's have a look. 18, let me see. Like this. 18, yeah? No, it will be 18. Don't forget about the center. Okay, let's check everything again. So it looks more or less the shape that I want to get. So now it's difficult to see it. It will look different when you have already tied it all together, not with all this crocheting hooks or chopsticks into it, but now the folds look more or less the same as I made it in the red bag, and it's more or less the same size. So visually looks okay, but then we will see. Now, how are we making the trimming for these folds? First of all, we can take off these markers. We don't need them. So this is the last loop that we have made. So you can start at any point. Actually, here it's not important. You can start at any point. So here's where this fold starts. I need to make it so that I have enough space for the handle. So let's have a look whether I will have enough space for the handle, about 4 centimeters. Yeah, that will be okay. So I take this loop that I have left here, and I pierce this fold, front and back, 2 layers. I'll show you zoom in. I hope it will be visible. So here we have several layers, and I have a loop on my hook, and I pierce it 1, 2, and 3. So actually I have 3 layers on the hook. All these fold I pierce with the hook. Pull the working thread and make a stitch. Then again, here again, it doesn't matter where you insert the hook. Just try to make neat stitches, and that will do. Most important thing now is to sew it neatly. Then and so I go step by step, each time piercing all the layers of the folds together, fixing them in place. And at the same time I do kind of trimming for the top of the bag. Take off these markers, we don't need them anymore. If you see a hole somewhere, you can insert the hook a little bit deeper so that you cover it at the same time. Make longer loops, it will help you to make it look better. Here, just make the trimming. Here we don't have a fold, so here it's easier to make just a trimming, just along the edge. And Don't count the stitches, doesn't matter at all. When you come next to the fold, again start sewing all the layers together, like here for example. I see that this fold starts, I have to pierce it all together, all the layers, like this, and make a stitch. Yeah, by the way, I haven't made one thing. I didn't take away the first crocheting hook. Of course you can now take it away, you don't need it anymore there. So first fold is ready, let's move on. So go on working like this till the end. Take off the marker, but do not take the hooks till you have finished the fold, because otherwise you might shift it. Better leave it till you have sewn all the fold, and then you can take it away. So now I have made it all together. And so already the side is ready. Now let's go on, take off this marker. Several centimeters, 3 to 4, without the fold, to have this free space, and then so here you can always adjust it a little bit while you sew it. I make sure that you have enough space for the handle to sew it, and control, of course, that you have pierced all the layers, not only 2 of 3, for example. Pierce them all 3, so that your hook is right here inside the bag. And so like this, go on working. And like this, go on working. Here is really simple, without a fold, and then next to the next fold. Take off the markers as I go, and take off the hooks only when you have made the fold. Don't skip this place where you see here the fold starts, so don't lose it inside the bag. Don't forget to start sewing the fold, and like this go on sewing, piercing all the layers of the fold, and then again without the fold. And so I go on. So the front fold is ready. Now we take off this marker, make several centimeters without the fold to have enough space for sewing the handle, so that we don't have to sew it to the fold. And then here start piercing it through all the layers to shape the fold. So here you can adjust it as you need, as you sew it. If you shift the fold to 1 centimeter, it will not show. It will not be a big mistake. If you see that you have to shift it 0.5 centimeter, do it. That's it. Okay, let's move on. Take off the marker as I go and go on sewing it the same way. Here just one layer and then again into the fold. Here you see I have nearly missed one layer, so be very careful, do not miss layers, pierce them all. If you have 3 layers, control that you pierce it through all the layers. It will look nice only if you haven't forgotten to pierce all the layers in these folds. And so have a little bit left, a little bit of yarn left. If you have enough yarn, you can also add one more row. I'll see whether I need to add one more row or not. Like this. I have a little free end left. Here I have made I have just to make one more fold and that will be it. You can take away this one last. And so go on working the same way. Take off the markers as I go. This is the red marker which shows me the center. I can take it away. And so that I have now the last fold to make, a little bit. And that will be it. Have a look where it starts. take off this marker and finish it till the end. I'll leave the hook till I have sewn the full fold. So at the same time, control that you still have the distance between the folds for the handle, for sewing the handle. If you see that you have no space for the handle, make it a little bit wider. I got entangled. So now I will make the last stitches and I'll be able to see. So I have sewn it. Now I want to show you what I get, the result. At this stage we get such nice folds. I like what I get, like how it turned out. It's exactly as it was meant to be. I see that this bag has slightly different sizes, so that it 46, 47, almost the same, and the height is 30. Yeah, so we need 1 more centimeter in height. So what I want to say, if you have enough yarn, you can now make several more centimeters on top of this. In the red bag I've made 1 more round. So now, after you have joined all the folds, and if you have yarn left, make 1 more round, just making single crochets. Here it doesn't matter how many stitches you have made, how many stitches you will make. So here you can even make it a little bit tighter, make a little bit less of stitches. If you want it to be narrower towards the top, tighten it like this, so if you like it. It's optional. I perhaps will make 1 more round, and so like this, just go on working in the round and add 1 more centimeter, 1 more row. But it is optional, you can leave it as it is, it will also look complete. So if, for example, you don't have any boucle yarn left, you can leave it at this stage, or you can make 1 more row, as I have said. Here it's really difficult to see where I insert the hook, frankly speaking, so it doesn't matter really. Somewhere in the middle of the stitch, somewhere under the half loop. So make the loops a little bit longer, then it will look nicer. And so like this we go on moving along the whole perimeter. Here you see I have to add a new skein because I ran out of the previous one. I have made a knot and I will just hide it somewhere behind the stitches. I'll then show you how we hide the free ends where we have some. It's really simple. I think that you already know how to, but I will show you just in case. So make this trimming till the end of this round, stop where you have started. I'll show you how to hide the free end. And we will start the other elements. So I have made the second row of trimming. And so now, if we start measuring it from the plastic canvas, then it will be 31 centimeters, 30.5 to 31 centimeter. If you like, you can add 1 more row of the trimming, then your bag will be even higher. If you want to add 1 more centimeter, for example, and you have the material. I'll finish it here. You can stop anywhere closer to the point where you have started. Just make it and make the last stitch. Pull it completely, cut it and pull it completely. So now we need to hide this free end. On the wrong side, I will hide it first. Push it through several stitches on the wrong side, like this. And then here I will hide it a little bit deeper, so that I will cover it with lining. Later we're going to sew in the lining into this bag, so I need to pull it now a little bit lower so that this place will be covered with lining. I'm not going to make our lining up, I'm going to make it a little bit lower than the upper edge. To make it fix better, you can even make a small knot. It will be okay, because you will cover it with lining, like this. Make a knot and tighten it. Like this. And leave a loop, pull the end through the loop, so that you can make a tight knot. And then cut the excess thread. Now you can hide it like this, and it will be hidden inside. So actually free ends, all the free ends need to be hidden like this. Just pull it through several loops here and so that it is nice and tidy. And now when you have two free ends, you can hide them together. Make a knot, one between the other, one and the other, like this. Insert one, make a knot, and then hide them together and cut. Cut all the rest. And so like this, hide all the free ends that you have in your bag. Hide them lower than that you are going to insert the lining. Just bear this in mind. So, and now we will insert the handles. So I will show you an example. I'll show you how to insert one so that you can then insert all the rest. You will use such a kit that comes together with screws. So place it where you are going to insert the handles. Just be careful. I recommend you to make it a little bit lower here, because I want to cover this space with a lining. So we need to make it 4 centimeters down so that this place will be covered with a lining. And so I can place it approximately like this. We need to insert these small screws, pierce them through like this. So here I pierce it through and I insert this little piece, leather piece, on top, and then using a screwdriver I screw it into the place, the second part of the screw, like this. First with fingers and then using a screwdriver fix it in place. Approximately like this. And by the way, sometimes you have two pieces. If you want, you can insert two additional pieces of leather. I think one will do for me. So here as well I pierce it through the base, then pierce it through this piece and screw it in place. It's really easy to pierce boucle. It's not difficult in this case. Screw the second one and then help yourself with the screwdriver. So usually I recommend you to tighten it well. It's just difficult to show it on camera. Tighten it well, or ask your husband to help you to screw it thoroughly. And one handle is ready. Likewise, insert all the other parts of the handles. Looks really nice, I think. It hides a little bit into this fold, exactly taking this space. So screw all the handles and then have a look, check whether you like how it looks. So I have inserted all the handles. I like the way they look, and so now we can proceed to inserting the magnetic button. Here it looks like this from the inside. It will be covered with a lining, although it already looks quite nice. And here we will insert a magnetic button in the center. So let's insert it. So let's make the button. Magnetic button consists of two pieces. Open them first. Open them first like this. Yeah, so we'll be sewing both parts, but before this we need to cut out of the plastic canvas two pieces and tie them with a boucle so that we can sew magnetic buttons to them and then sew it to the bag. So let's take our plastic canvas. I'll cut pieces 4 by 4 openings. So again, I take nail file as I have done it with a bigger part. I can slightly smooth these angles. I'll smooth all the corners so that they are not sharp. So now we need to trim these little pieces with yarn. I'm going to use crochet hook 4 millimeters. First go along the contour as we did it on the big one, so here just all the same. I will insert it into every other stitch. On the corner I will make several stitches, or just one and then into the next. So like this. Just cover the surface with the yarn. So, and now when we have done the perimeter, we do it in the center. In the center it doesn't matter really, because we are going to insert the magnetic button, it will be covered. So here we'll just make several stitches, you know, just in case. Maybe several stitches even will do. So insert it here anyway, actually maybe in any other opening as well, up to you. And just cover it so that we can insert the magnetic button. Then the free end I will cut and hide it in the middle. Here likewise, hide it. Perhaps I would even tie them together, one and the other, to make it a stronger knot. Hide it somehow like this, where you can pierce it through. And that's it. You can cut the end, it will stay put because we'll sew the magnetic button on top, just like this. So one piece is ready. Like this, you have to prepare one more. Likewise, first make it on the perimeter and then cover the middle. So two pieces are ready. And now we need to sew magnetic buttons onto this piece and to the bag at once. Here we will make one seam instead of two. Yeah, it's much easier and quicker. So I'll take away all excess things. I have thread more or less matching color for the bag. So you see, I have pinned it in place with a sewing needle through the center, like this. And here it's going to be in the middle on this side, in the middle on the other side. Maybe a little bit even higher. Also find the center between the folds here. So now we need to place this piece right on top here along the edge of the bag here, and then place this magnetic button also in the center. And now I'll take thread. I do not make knots here, I make a loop method, and then I'll just fix it here. And then start sewing it like a button, making a stitch completely through all the layers, this piece and the base, and then backwards, so that you make less stitches here. Try to make the stitch on this side really small, and approximately the same point where you have made the first. And so like this, make several stitches back and forth into this opening and then all the rest. So like you are sewing on a button. Really easy. Boucle hides everything so that the stitches aren't even visible. I can take away the pin now and sew like this. Sew this opening, or maybe one more stitch will do. And then when you need to go to the next, I'd recommend you to make a seam here along the edge. So I will sew this additional piece to the base like this. Just make a seam here so that I come to the next opening, and then in the next opening sew it again like a button. Into each hole make several stitches. So our aim here is to secure it as firmly as we can. And so make several seams here now. And then go on moving towards the next one, sewing this piece to the base. And we finish here into the last opening. And several stitches more. I would sew this edge of the additional piece as well, and also I want to sew this loop. Don't quite like it. I want to make it a little bit thicker here. And make several more stitches just to make sure. And actually here it doesn't matter to make any knots here because it's all so tangled that we can just cut it, it will remain there. Carefully cut it. And so now you need to sew the other part of it. Find the right place for it first. So one is ready. Now we take the second part of magnetic button and sew it likewise, so that we can open and close it nicely here in the center. And it will not be stretching the bag, and it will be held in place nicely. So I have sewn both magnetic buttons now, and now try it, open, close, have a look at the bag. At this stage we have almost finished our bag, so now we will just need to sew in the lining. I'll tell you how to measure the bag, how to cut the lining, sew it and sew it into the bag. So first of all, we need to cut pieces of fabric. So I have made a drawing approximately how our lining is going to look, which pieces do we need to cut from the lining, how to measure the bag, everything I will show you. So we need 2 pieces like this and 1 piece like this. So first we will measure the bags, cut these pieces, and then I'll tell you how to find the length of that piece. The width here is going to be the same as the width of front and back side of the plastic canvas, that is 10 centimeters. But here, as we have edges which we will sew together, we'll have to take 10 plus 3 seam allowance. It will make 13 centimeters in width. Yeah, so let's put it aside for the time being. Then this piece is top of the bag, this is the bottom. So approximately we need to measure our bag to see its size. We need to measure it here on top of the bag and measure it here, the bottom. The bottom will be the same as the top, just the amount of stitches, that is 150 here on top, and on the bottom I also started with 150 stitches. If you have different, then you can measure this and you will have different size. I have the same, so I can measure just the top. It's difficult to measure it on the bottom, so it's easier now for me to measure it on top. So this will be the same as this one. Even if it is a little bit bigger or smaller, 2 centimeters plus minus is not a big deal. And then here we need to measure the widest point. This is the widest line of the bag, front or back side, where we have made the increases, the most increases. And it's difficult to measure actually, but we will also do it approximately. And then we need also to have the height, this measurement from bottom to the upper part. It's 31 centimeter, we have already measured it, but inside the lining will be a little smaller. So now let's measure. Let's take measuring tape and take the measurement first, the circumference of the bag. I do this along the line where I approximately am going to sew the lining. So remember where you are going to sew the lining, at what length. I, for example, will start here where I have this piece, so I will remember that I have started measuring it here, and I go along the perimeter like this, press it nicely to the base of the bag, and so you go along the perimeter and these things that you have due to the folds. So here go carefully all along the perimeter. we're going to sew the fabric to them as well, so we need to take them into consideration actually. Measure it all along. So like this, I reach this point where I got 105 centimeters. So how do we count the amount we need? I will write it down, 105 centimeters circumference. So first, if we had one piece, then we would make 105 centimeters. But we have two pieces, so we need to measure it 2 times by 20 centimeters. 105 minus 20. Pay attention, not 13. 13 it is the increases, 3 centimeters increases, so we take 10 and 10 is 20. 105 minus 20, we get 85. 85 we now have to divide by 2, and that will be 42.5 centimeter for the width without increases, without seam allowances. Plus 3 centimeters seam allowance, I add 1.5 centimeter on each side for the seam allowance, just in case. For me this is enough for me. So 45 and 5, the width of this piece is going to be 45 and 5 centimeters here as well. So width in the center will be, according to the same principle as we measure it inside. It is a little bit difficult to measure it inside because we need to measure it along one line. Just find one approximate level in the middle, here where it is the widest. Can put it on the surface like this, and now you measure, taking in consideration the folds. You need to measure the circumference of the lining, approximate circumference of the lining. Here as well. So here you measure it approximately, but try to make it more or less like this. And so like this, going along the center. Make this measurement. Don't forget where you have started. I have started from the first fold. So and now I get 140 centimeters. 140 centimeters. So this is going to be 140 centimeters. We have to divide it by 2, and we also subtract 20 minus 20, we get 120 divided by 2, 60 centimeters. And seam allowance, 60 plus 3, 63 centimeters. So this piece is going to be 63 centimeters. Height. Now let's measure the height. The height we measure, in this case, I'll start measuring from magnetic button because it's where I am going to start sewing the lining. Here, go down perpendicularly to the bottom. I'll get 29 centimeters. So we do not stretch it. We don't want to stretch the lining. So up to 29 centimeters, and we add seam allowances, which will be 32 centimeters. So this height is going to be 32 centimeters. So that we can cut these pieces, you need first to place the main points, then measure distance, and then draw this piece. So this piece we will cut after we have made this circumference. Yeah. So after we have cut this central piece, we'll be able to know how long we need the side to be. We'll measure this circumference and it will be the same as this. So cut it out, 2 pieces, and come back to this one. So 2 pieces are ready. Haven't ironed them yet, so it looks like this. Now, how to make measurement for the last piece? Have a look. We need a measuring tape and measure it all along the contour here, so that the shape is the same as the shape of this piece. Bear in mind the seam allowance, which we made here. So pay attention that we are not going to add seam allowances to these because here we already have them. So approximately like this, you measure it and get the length of your piece. So I have 120 centimeters. So that length of this piece is 120 centimeters. You will have your number. Cut one piece like this, 13 to 120. Then we will iron it and then I'll show you how to sew it together. So now let's have a look. I have cut all the pieces that we need. This one I have just folded because it's so long, 120 centimeters. I have already ironed it. And now I will show you by and by how to sew it together. We will need some sewing pins so that we can pin it in place. And then it will be easier for us to sew it. When we make a seam, we can then take them away. So prepare some sewing pins. Let's start with first seams. So I will mark with a sewing pin where the top of the bag is going to be. So where is going to be the top, where is going to be the bottom. Like this. Along this edge, so I will fold 1.5 centimeter to make a seam. So like this, we will do this on both pieces, here and there. Mark it. On the other piece, do the same, fold it and mark it with sewing pins, and on this piece as well. Fold it from right to the wrong side. Make such a fold here. So all this is going to be our first seam. On the other side as well. Like this. So this is how these pieces prepared are looking. And now we can make the seams. So at once, if you have some tag that you want to add, you can now take it and sew it where you like it. I usually prefer to sew it in the center of the base, here on one side. So put these seams, which you have pinned with sewing pins now, sew the label, and then we'll meet how to sew it all together. So I have made all the seams that I have been pinning, and now I'll show you how we assemble it all. This piece to our base. So here we need to put it right side to the right side, like this, the upper towards the upper, and like this we will make this seam. We will first pin it as well and then sew it. So I'll do it like this. I have seam allowances. Don't forget about them. I'm not a professional seamstress, of course. I'm a knitter, and so I sew only when I need to make some lining. And so like this, we'll pin it in place and make a seam. But as you make this seam, you might get some folds. That is absolutely okay to have it. So let's pin it here. So try to spread these folds if you get them on the fabric. Just make it so that it looks nice, and it will be okay. So now you have nearly finished this side and you have a corner. Like this. So now we will go from this side and pin it here and then below. So what I want to tell you, if hold it to the pins, make sure so that all the pins go into the same direction, because we are going to move this way. So here try to make the pins follow the same direction, then it will be easier for you to work. Like this. so this way we move all along the edge. So we will make this seam, then likewise we will pin in place the second part, this edge of the side to the second piece, and then we will make a seam and our lining will be ready. We will start sewing it into the bag. So, and now you have this piece ready. We have to insert the pins only along this edge. There will be little folds here, but it is okay. So, like this, we have pinned in place one side, likewise do with the other. And then we will make the seams. Now we have made the seams on this side. That's how it looks on the right side, like this. And now same way we will pin in place the other one. This one. So make sure that right side is facing the right side and make a seam on the wrong side. I'm not going to show it on camera, so just everything the same. Yeah, how to pin it in place, just like we did before. Spread it all along. Now I'll start and then you will continue. So I will turn it this way. Make a seam. It will be a little bit difficult to make a seam, but nevertheless. And likewise, first make a seam on this side, then on the other side. So now I have almost pinned it in place, almost. And now we can start this side. Insert the pins so that they follow the same direction to make it easier for you to sew. I'll use one more pin to fix it in place. So, and now the last seam, make the last seam, and we can start sewing it into the bag. So all the seams are ready now. That's how it looks now inside. Now we will sew it into the bag. But before this, hide all the 3 ends, make sure that everything inside here is ready. And then choose where you are going to insert label and place the lining into the bag. For big linings, I recommend to use pins because it is much easier first to pin it in place. Especially in big bags, it's much easier to pin it in place and then sew it. So I usually start with a label because I can place it here exactly in the middle. Somehow like this under this magnetic button. Pin it in place. And like this, following this perimeter, insert the pins and spread them so that it looks nice. More or less. Let's leave a little space for the seams. So now it will take a little bit more textile when we sew it. Cover the handle, try to make the side in the center of the side, center of the lining side, I mean in the center of the back side. Try to keep this line, more or less, that is. And then going like this in the round, place our lining. You can at once insert it on this side, then on that side, so that it is the same, because the lining might shift, but if you pin it in place, you will make sure that it will stay put. And the lining will be symmetrical in the back. When we speak about the sides and the middles of the back, it's important. And like this, go on inserting the pins, and then we'll meet when you have inserted all the pins inside. And I'll show you a really seamless way to sew the lining into the bag, so that your bag is perfect. So I have inserted all the pins. Now I'll make a zoom in so that you can see how I sew the lining into the bag. I will fix the thread somewhere in the center. First fix it somewhere on the base, maybe under the magnetic button. I don't make knots, I use loop method and insert the needle in the loop. You can make a knot here as well, but I prefer to do without it if I can. So I'll make a zoom in so that you can see. I can take away this pin. and have a look. So in this place where you are going to insert the needle, here center, I pierce the lining exactly on top of this fold where we have folded. Like this. I pierce it horizontally, again right into the top after 5 to 7 millimeters where, from the place where I have inserted it, and tighten this stitch. Then pierce it through in the same, almost the same place, return it, and so that on the right side I made the tiny stitch, then I make a diagonal piercing through, so that here on the lining I pierce it a little bit further. And again insert the needle exactly into the top of the lining. Here. Tighten it slightly and sew it. Then next stitch again into the base and into the lining. So I'm not going to film it all because it's a time-consuming thing. So you see that we make teeny tiny stitches into the base and then into the lining right on top. And so like this we move all along the circumference of the lining. So here we will have the folds, so pay attention that we just sew it according to the shape. As the fold on the base goes, so you sew it. Just follow its shape, and that's all. So here you follow this shape. You don't have to follow the fold, but if you are sewing the lining lower, just follow the shape of the fold. I sew it a little bit higher so it doesn't influence this seam. The folds that we have made do not influence the way I sew it, but if you are sewing it lower, then just follow the shape of the fold. As you see, this is absolutely seamless way to sew the lining. Go on working and our work will be ready. So I have finally sewn the lining into this huge bag. You can see how it looks. To finish, here you see I have finished exactly where I started. I don't make a knot, I just make several more stitches here and there by piercing through the bag. Back and forth. And actually, that's it. Cut the thread and it is ready. Like this. Now my bag is ready. Here is how it looks inside with a big lining. Then it can be closed with a magnetic button. And so that is the finished look. So thank you for watching this masterclass. This was Madeira in huge size, maxi. together with the sewn-in lining. It is a really huge bag, a really huge shopper bag. There is a magnetic button, handles, it has plastic canvas bottom and has such wonderful shape. So, my dear, thank you for watching this masterclass. Thank you that you have chosen it, and I hope that it was easy and interesting for you, and you get as a result this gorgeous Madeira bag. This was Oksana Rudko and La Accessory. See you, bye!